Hi guys, my name is Sandra Ochola. I am a lawyer and advocate of the High Court of Kenya and a two-time author. One of my books is The Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya, which is a simplified version of our Constitution of Kenya 2010. And it is meant to guide young people, to provide them with information about who they are, where they're headed to as far as issues of law and constitution are concerned. I would urge you to get a copy of your book. If you look at it, it's very child-friendly. It has information right from the start. An introduction section, which now gives you the journey we've gone through in getting a new constitution. You have an outline of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Then it goes chapter by chapter by chapter. All of the chapters in the constitution are here, right from chapter 1 on power of the people and authority of the constitution, down to the general provisions. In it you're going to find material on national security, on public finance, on devolved government. And one thing that I liked, that I enjoyed doing, is simplifying the information and also giving you activities that you can do. Some of the activities, for instance, group work. Some you can do individually, others are through group work, where you have, like, the first activity you find in the book, what are my rights as a young Kenyan? Why should I participate in choosing leaders? How do I promote peace and equality in my community? And you're going to find this in all the chapters. If I could give you another one, here. The journey on the proposed constitution. How many constitutions has Kenya had since independence? When was the Constitution of Kenya 2010 promulgated? And these sections like this, when you go through the book, allow you to engage in intergenerational conversations. And an example could be interview an older person and note what they can remember about the following periods and events in our history, because it's through this that young people, and even yourself, you can learn the journey that we've taken to get the new constitution and where we are heading to, gleaning over the lessons that we've learned and hearing it from people who've gone through that process. So if you were to interview someone who, for example, lived through the colonial administration, what were the experiences, what did they learn, what were the pros and cons of living during that season? You have the KANU regime. You also interview someone through the 2005 constitutional referendum, for those of you who are alive then, the 2007 post-election violence, the 2010 constitution, and even the 2017 general election. It's that up to date. So once you're talking to someone, an older person of that generation, then you get information, you learn from them, you learn the ideas, you learn the reasons as to some of the decisions they made, and as a young person you get to understand who you are from that perspective. So please get yourself a copy of this. Lots to learn. Chapter 7, for instance, representation of the people. You see this has been put in a manner that young people, very colorful, very cute, if I could use that word, in a way that resonates with young people. So from this you're able to learn what are the processes. If you're going to vote, for those of you who are planning to vote, first-time voters, what is the process, what is the procedure? You have information such as this. This tells you the procedure. You can actually do a test. This tells you a procedure for conducting an election, the processes that you need to take, and this is more or less like a simulation of what the actual voting day or what the voting period or the voting season looks like. So there's a lot. One thing, but for the last one, what I like most about it is this towards the end. It's called My Current Affairs Worksheet. So on a daily basis, once you've digested the contents of the book, on a daily basis, for you to remember what you've learned and for you to make it as practical as possible in your life, so you have a sheet like this. So your current affairs worksheet, my source of information. Say there's something happening in your community, in the family or at home, so then you include there my source of information, summary of the current affair, include details of who, what, when, where, and why. Why is this important to me? Because then you begin to synthesize the information, the events that are going on across the country or even within your community. Why is that important to you? Is it violating your right? Is it promoting your rights? Is it giving you information? Things like that. So then what are my thoughts and opinions on the issue you place here? Then which are the areas of the Constitution does it relate to? If it's an issue of services being provided even at the county or ward level, then this one relates to the issues of devolution. If it's something to do with school, it relates to your right to education. If it's something to do with at home, it relates to your right to family or the right to culture, things like those. So this sheet here, as you'll be using it on a daily basis, I'd recommend that on a daily basis. Then it keeps you in touch with what's happening around you. It gets you aware of the Constitution, because again, we said this is a guide. It guides you on what the Constitution is, where you're able to get your information, and gives you an opportunity to engage and be very active within your community. So if you haven't gotten this book, please get it. It's ideally written for teens and young people, but there are a good number of adult teenagers who've gotten it and are reading it and are finding enough information. Let's be very active. Let's be active citizens. Let's take pride in who we are. Let's take pride in our communities. Let us engage our young people as partners in nation building. Thank you very much, and looking forward to your orders.